Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
Together we are two of the Office Blokes.
We have indeed.
Yep, still two of us. Office Bloke Daz. What is it this time? We've already said he's transitioning. We've already alluded to the fact that he's not allowed out on bail yet.
We must have exhausted all the...
He ran over a Just Stop Oil protester backwards in someone else's car. Naked. So he's getting his medal from the king. Nah, he'll be back. He's on holiday. He will be back soon, don't worry.
He will, yeah.
Right then, a bit of Lost in the Pond. Five ways British and American suburbs look very different.
Suburbs, yeah. Well, there's one straight away, the fencing.
Yeah, we don't have chain link fencing really, do we?
Not really, no. No, not at all.
I think a big one is going to be the width of the roads.
Yep, definitely. I'd go for that. Maybe the... don't know, gardens. They don't seem to be fenced off or have hedges and things like that quite as much as ours. Well, not ones I've seen on TV and stuff like that.
Tends to be a big open front garden with a driveway and then a back garden, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas for us, it'd be like a pokey little, 5 foot by 3 foot space in front of the house if you're lucky.
We just have cars parked on front. That's probably pretty much it sometimes, isn't it, with the size of the houses? But
yeah, that's brick though. But he's in Chicago, isn't he, Lawrence?
Yeah.
So maybe
I think it's more brick up north, isn't there?
Is that the way it is, do you think?
I think so, yeah. Where it's a bit... yeah, I'm sure it's like that.
So build it out of wood where there's hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff, and then where the weather's a bit calmer, brick.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, okay.
I think probably because it's colder up there, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I suppose it can get cold. I think it can get windy as well, isn't it? The Windy City.
It
Chicago.
was known as that, yeah. How true that is, I've no idea. But yeah, that was the case.
Right. Well, let's check this out then. This is 5 ways British and American suburbs look very different. Let's go for it.
Why are there so many words for this? And what do you call it, other than that grassy thing over there?
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to the suburbs. Specifically, how they differ when you go for a walk around them. For having lived in the suburbs of both countries,
Look how wide the road is.
For having lived in the suburbs of both countries, I'm well attuned to those differences, and so I'm going to talk about them today. Now, before we do that, if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel, do that now. In the meantime, let's go for a walk.
Let's go. You gonna keep going? You just love the camera, don't you?
You're such a ham. You're such a ham.
Look at you.
I'm going to start this list by talking about something you may or may not have heard of called verges.
Verges are that little strip of grass on the other side of the pavement from the front yard. While these do exist in Britain, it's far more common to see a front yard / garden, a sidewalk / pavement, and then the road with the cars going in the other direction.
In America, it feels like 80% of the time you are on the verge of a verge. There are a lot of verges here, and it's nice having them. I just wish that when I bought my house, somebody would have told me that I would be responsible for mowing them, because while it sounds like small work, it's made harder by the fact that there's always a tree in the way. And while we're on the subject of trees...
There are a few roads around our way where there's quite a few verges, I must admit.
Yeah.
And you do tend to get people... I don't think they have to, but because the council don't cut them as much.
No.
You tend to get people who own the houses outside, and they tend to just go over them just to keep them tidy and neat and everything.
A lot of the time they put boulders there as well to stop people
parking. Or turn them into mud baths and stuff like that. Yeah.
I know it's not technically a verge, but Shaftesbury Avenue, where you've got the main road, then you've got the grassy, I suppose they're kind of a verge, but then there's a road on the other side for access.
Yeah.
There's one of them where someone, I don't know if you've seen it, but someone's planted wildflowers, but it's literally, if their house was 16 foot wide, it's that on the verge, and it's just a little wildflower patch, and then the rest of it is like overgrown. And
all rubbish.
Yeah.
You'll probably see that as their sort of like piece of verge, I'm guessing.
It's nice though, because you think if everyone came outside the houses and did that, how great it'd look for everyone.
Yeah, because the council won't do it, so if you can brighten the place up a bit and keep it tidy, absolutely, why not?
Yeah.
All for it.
I've talked before about how there are different types of trees here, but that's not what I want to talk about. Nor the notion that your average American suburb has more of them, because I'm not entirely sure that it does. In fact, I want to talk about greenliness. What's greenliness, Lawrence? Greenliness is a word that I made up to describe the degree to which something is green. Sort of like what cleanliness does for the word clean. I want to get a word into the dictionary. And I can't really describe it, but I think there's something different about the greenliness of American trees compared to those in the United Kingdom. I'm not a scientist, but I think there's a vibrancy to the leaves of trees in the United States that you just don't see in Britain. And I do wonder if some of that is due to photosynthesis, right? That's what we learned about in school. There's typically less cloud cover here in the United States compared to Britain. And I think that allows the greenliness of not just the trees, but the grass to take shape. I won't do that with a camera ever again.
I think it's just that it's better lit.
Yeah, maybe.
If it's grey, everything's going to look grey, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Sun's out.
Whether there's a science to that, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. In the height of summer, I think everything's pretty green over here.
Yeah. I will say grass is a contentious one because I think we have the best grass in the world.
Oh, do you?
Because it rains so much.
Yeah.
And we do get sunshine as well.
Yeah.
Like everywhere I've been, there's just the grass is just not as good.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm sure there's great grass in the States as well.
Yeah, over in Spain, I've been on grass quite a lot. It always seems fairly. It's a definite
tough,
different.
isn't it?
It's really tough, sort of sharpish, sort of rough type of grass, isn't it, over there? The general stuff. But I suppose it has to be with maybe the more extreme heat and probably the less moisture as well. So
yeah, we've got to get something because it rains so much.
Well, we've got plenty of moisture, haven't we? So we can't complain about that.
Perhaps the most enduring image of a stereotypical American house is not the house itself, but the white picket fence that surrounds it.
But while America undoubtedly has more of these than Britain, a lot of American suburban homes are perhaps more notable for having no partition whatsoever.
In other words, there's often very little protecting your front yard from wandering humans or even children. Thankfully, despite the open invitation, people typically stick to the sidewalk unless their name contains the words gym and chainsaw. In Britain, an open-faced front yard is considerably less common, with most houses opting not for a fence but a low-lying wall or hedge.
In fact, it's often along these walls that you'll find our next entry.
In the past, I've talked about the general difference between British and American street names. For example, in Britain, virtually every town and city has a street named after Queen Victoria, whereas in the US, there's a good chance that your street name will contain either a president, a number, or a type of tree.
But there's also a major difference in how the street names are displayed.
In Britain, it's not uncommon for the name to be displayed on a 2-foot placard. These are normally mounted either onto 2 low-level poles or a wall. In the US, things are a little different. The street names are housed on smaller, greener placards that sit on a much taller pole. And given the grid-like nature of many American neighborhoods, these poles usually contain not 1 but 2 street names, one facing east or west, the other north or south. This is why you'll often hear American film characters say something like, "Hey, Johnny, meet me at 21st and Washington on the double."
In Britain, we don't really do that. It's more like, meet me at the pub at 9 a.m. Bring your darts. And then there's the terminology we use to describe the stuff in our respective suburban lands. You've got yard instead of garden, sidewalk instead of pavement, a downspout instead of a drain pipe, although Americans do also say drain pipe. Median.
I used to call it downspout.
Did you?
Yeah. When I left work, when I left school, I did painting and decorating for a short while, but they always used to refer to it as a downspout, not a drain pipe.
Right.
You know, gutters and the downspout.
Yeah.
That's how they used to.
Maybe
what
that's
you used to call it. But,
maybe that's more of the technical term for it. Like your layman says drain pipe, but your actual tradesman and stuff like that.
I think it is. I think it is used over here a bit, but I think it is maybe more with tradesmen and stuff like that. I think.
Yeah.
Sure it is, but
I've not given it that much thought.
No. I mean, I won't lose any sleep over it. I must admit,
Yeah.
but interesting though.
Yeah.
Instead of central reservation. And finally, there's a word difference for something that I spoke about earlier. Verges.
At least verges are what we call them in England. In America, verges must be so prevalent that no single American can agree on what to call them. In Pennsylvania and parts of the Midwest, they apparently call it a berm. In the upper Midwest, it's a boulevard.
I've heard of berm before.
No, I've not heard of that.
Yeah. I've definitely heard that for some reason.
Never knew that.
Or a boulevard strip. New Englanders might go with a common.
In parts of Ohio, it's called a curb strip, while in other parts of Ohio, it's called a devil strip.
People in Ann Arbor, Michigan have been known to call it an extension lawn, which makes sense because it's an extension of your lawn. New Jersey seems to like the term grass bay, while others on the East Coast go with grass plot.
Except for Long Islanders who think it's an island strip.
In the Pacific Northwest, the word median suffices, while Northern Californians think it's a mow strip. Down in the Gulf states, it's often known as neutral ground, which also makes sense because while a verge might be an extension of my lawn, other people's dogs do routinely shit on it.
What do you call it, Arthur? You probably just call it.
That's what they're there for.
Yeah. But
They are around our way anyway. That's the first thing to do. Go to one of the roads near us that's got a grass verge.
Yeah.
And then away you go.
But you're still responsible for mowing it and other people's dogs are shitting on it.
No, I don't think you're responsible for it at all.
I think you are there.
Oh,
though.
here.
He
Ah,
said,
yeah.
He said you are there.
Right, over there, yeah. Obviously, over here, then you're not.
Yeah.
It should be like a council,
You
a
don't
local authority type of responsibility. But
you don't want to go lawnmower in some shit, do you?
not really. No, you don't really want to be going picking up other people's dog shit either.
No.
If it's your own dog, it's bad enough, but not other people's.
I told you the other day, I've been putting off mowing my lawn for a bit just because other stuff to do, and it's pretty
Yeah.
overgrown. Got home from work, let the chickens out, lay down for a bit in the sun, and when I got up, I looked down to the side of me, and there's a half-eaten rat and a big pile of shit next to it. And I'm like, thank God I didn't mow the lawn, because I genuinely didn't see it until I got up, and then it just caught my eye. The grass isn't that bad, but it does need it. Yeah, and I'm like, not only would I have gone, I'll just mow the shit, but then there would have been a rat in there.
Oh, jeez.
It would have been an absolute disaster. I think a fox has got
I was going to say,
rat,
yeah.
and then it's then sat next to it, looking at it, and just taking a shit and left.
Yeah. What a charmer.
The ultimate insult.
Absolute charmer.
Yes.
Some states know it as a parking strip, a park row, or a park row strip.
In Wisconsin and Illinois, it occasionally goes by a right-of-way.
Alternatively, some Americans opt for sidewalk lawn, sidewalk plot, sidewalk strip, and in central Indiana, I once heard it called a sidewalk tame.
Wow.
Like, what? In southern Florida, some might even call it a swale, even though that sounds more like a species of fish. Some Missourians call it a terrace, which coincidentally is what the British call row houses, while some Americans will call it a tree box, a tree belt, or a tree lawn. Why are there so many words for this?
Wow.
And what do you call it,
Unbelievable.
other than that grassy thing over there? Let me know in the comments below. And that's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever lived in a suburb and the general greenliness of your trees. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter and or Threads, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that I don't have to. And while we're on the subject, here's a video of some of the culture shocks that I experienced after moving into my first American suburb, and you're going to watch that video next. Thank you to my ponderers who make these videos possible. If you would like to...
Nice one.
Yeah.
I think everybody in this country, I'm guessing, calls it a grass verge. I've never heard it called anything else ever. But the amount of different ones over in the States, it's like a different one in every single state, pretty much, isn't it? By the sound of it. There's so many different versions of it.
But
It's unbelievable.
the dialect in the States comes from all over the world, doesn't it? There's German settlers in places, Irish,
I guess so,
English,
yeah,
Spanish,
I guess so. Yeah.
Colombian. It's
Yeah.
like such a melting pot, but I think in...
Oh, so you maybe from other places, that's where it's
maybe
come
it's
from.
just, maybe it's been adapted from other
Suppose it could have done.
vernaculars
Yeah.
and things. Or maybe there was just no word for it. You know,
Yeah,
and
maybe it's
people
just a new thing, so they just
yeah.
made up as they went along, maybe.
Yeah. Interesting, though.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, nice. Pretty much spot on that, I would guess.
Yeah.
There's probably a few more differences as well if you walk around and...
Well, he didn't mention the roads being wider.
Yeah, roads is a big one, isn't it?
But that road he was walking down, you would never get a street that size in the
And
UK.
straight roads, because it is
Yeah.
pretty much... I mean, not about everywhere, but I mean, I'm guessing most places in the States, it's grid systems pretty much everywhere, is it?
If you could
A lot
design
of places.
if you could design it from scratch, you probably would do it that way, wouldn't you?
Is that what they did in Milton Keynes? I think that's like a boulevard
Yeah.
sort of grid system, isn't it?
Yeah, no one likes Milton Keynes, really.
Well, I don't think they do. That's why I'm wondering whether it probably doesn't work over here. But yeah, the roads are just You're a lot bigger over there, aren't you?
I think it's just that we're not used to it over
Yeah.
here. That's
Yeah,
why,
true.
you know, if everywhere looked like that, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, my whole street looks like a driveway.
Yeah.
You don't even know it's there. And like, it's literally between houses, and then there's what looks like a little driveway, and you go down, and there's
Yeah.
like 22 houses down there, all with big back
But
gardens.
they've been
and
there a long
stuff.
time, the houses, haven't they? So that's what it was like.
1860s, my house.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. It's just a whole different way of building, and
Yeah.
less space. You have to cram them in, didn't you, for workers? I'm guessing
Yeah,
something
well,
like that. So
I think the whole village was kind of built around. I think my street was the first bit,
yeah,
and then it was built
And
around
spread out
that
from
and
there.
pushed
Is it
out.
all salt mines where you are?
Yeah.
And stuff like that, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
I guess that's what it's for. But
Yeah.
interesting stuff.
Right, yeah.
Good.
Cheers for that one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and we'll see you again soon.
Cheers.